There's a sound at the center of this case that 3 separate audio engineers have now touched, and depending on who you ask, it's either the most damning piece of evidence in the entire Nolan Wells investigation, or it's people hearing exactly what they already wanted to hear. Tonight, we're going to actually listen to it, all 3 versions, and we're going to walk through, step by step, what audio enhancement can actually do and what it can't. Welcome to the Black Docket. If you're new here, hit subscribe and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you're going to have heard something you need to make up your own mind about. Let's start with the basic shape of what happened. An audio engineer, independent, with no connection to the investigation, pulled the original 911 call, in this case, off a local news outlet's public upload. Not from police, not from an anonymous account online, from the same audio the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources itself had already released.
To connect you.
Detail Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles?
What'd
Hello?
you say? Hey.
Yes. How far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right. Well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir?
I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't
All
have
right.
the tag
Unless
on
you
here.
have a
It got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right. And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah. Everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right. Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right. Do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. All right, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm available.
North 30 degrees by 4672.
All right. 4672. All right. And you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have the VHF radio.
All right. Well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right. Looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right. Is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We are sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in
Okay.
17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right. Have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right. Where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right. How many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Gotta jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay.
How many
what's
adults
going
on board?
What's up? There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody
right.
here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person? Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
Like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right, verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
This is Captain Seth.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under...
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and he said,
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So
Right.
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah,
Or,
they're in a panic. He's saying the
So-
bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a
Okay.
kid. He just doesn't understand.
oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And, again, I couldn't find he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it's just under fee-for-service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to. If you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is he a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Anything on this phone number?
All right. Yep. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm going to send you over an accurate one under this one, okay? He's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes, okay?
Okay, perfect. All right. And, yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right. Transferring now. Thank you again, Captain.
All
Stay
righty.
safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hello? Hello? Are you there? I apologize. I will be disconnecting due to lack of response.
That's what everyone heard first. A boat taking on water, a request for a tow, panic in the background, but nothing anyone could clearly make out. Here's the part that matters technically. and it's worth understanding before we go any further. This recording was what's called a dual mono recording, meaning the caller's voice and the dispatcher's voice were already recorded on separate channels. That's actually common for phone-based emergency calls. It's not unusual, and it's not evidence of tampering on its own. What it does mean is that separating those channels, isolating just the background chatter from the caller's side, doesn't require any exotic technology. It's a standard audio engineering technique called channel isolation, and after that, adding what's called EQ, equalization, lets you boost or cut specific frequencies to pull background noise up out of the mud or push distracting noise down out of the way. That's exactly what happened here. The engineer isolated the caller's channel, boosted the gain on a specific section, and looped it to listen closely.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the f*** up! What'd you say?
Here's what she says she heard, and I want to be precise about this, because precision is the entire point of tonight's video. A name she didn't recognize. Then, according to her account, a phrase immediately following it, one that, if accurate, would completely change how this case is understood. I'm not going to tell you what to believe about that phrase. I'm going to tell you what's actually been verified and let you draw your own conclusion, because that's the only honest way to handle a piece of evidence this contested. Now, a third version exists too, produced completely independently by a different source, using a different technique. Instead of enhancing specific frequencies, this version simply muted the dispatcher's channel entirely and raised the volume on everything else.
Miss Brantley is the audio engineer who enhanced the 911 call, the CETO call, in the Nolan Wells case. So everybody claiming some ding-dong on YouTube did it or somebody on Insta or TikTok did it, no. She did it. I've spoken to her. I've read her statement. I want you to judge her credibility. Credibility is normally the sole province of a jury, and tonight you serve in that function. Miss Brantley, I'm sure that you're getting all sorts of abuse, threats, and so forth. It's a cacophony that seemingly won't cease. That said, thank you for being with us tonight. Explain to me where you got the audio, how you got the audio, and what, if anything, you did to enhance the audio.
First and foremost, I basically downloaded it off of YouTube from WLOX News's YouTube site. And when I downloaded it, I ripped it off of YouTube. That's the terminology that we use when we take something off of YouTube. But when I ripped it off of YouTube
Pause.
and I pulled it in.
Pause, please. Objection. Miss Brantley, isn't it true
Yes.
that the audio you got was taken directly by XLO from MDMR, correct? The Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay, please continue, Miss Brantley.
So when I downloaded it from YouTube, I pulled it into my DAW, which is Logic Pro X. That's my DAW of choice. And when I first listened to it, I realized that it was like a dual mono recording, which most, most phone services or operators utilize when they're recording conversations. And so it was already split between the caller, the dispatch, and the callers in the background. And so that's what made it easy for me to isolate it without having to do much to it. So that isolation, when I separated the left channel from the right channel, that just made me be able to really focus on everything that was on the call end. And what I was hearing was I honestly could not believe what I was hearing.
Miss Janetta Brantley, isn't it true this is the same audio that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources?
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Let's listen to it one more time.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the up! What'd you say? It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now. I don't know the phone number. It's either. I think it's. Try that. Everybody was on this phone. I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't have the tag on here. It got ripped off. What? No, we do not need that. Let me go look. Where is this? Hey, jump in and pull the plug while you're going.
Oh, take it out of gear. Take it out of gear.
Hello.
Take it out of gear.
Okay, what's going on? What's up? Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the up! Bart. Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the up! David Bart. David Bart. David Bart.
Back to Janetta Brantley joining us tonight, and she shows herself in that video showing what she is doing. What does adding EQ mean, Ms. Brantley?
Adding EQ is basically selecting a certain frequency of the actual sound and either deleting or removing a certain noise, something that's problematic to the ear, deleting that or boosting that. That's literally all EQing is.
What was your process, Janetta? Because I was sitting researching. It was early in the morning, like 5:45 a.m. several days ago, and I was researching the Nolan Wells case, and I saw the transcript as it was being played. And my husband was also up. He said, "What's wrong?" I'm like, if this is real, this changes everything. It changes everything. Because up until that point, it seemed as if Nolan's death could very well have been an accident. If this is real, it changes everything. It's seismic. What was your reaction when you heard these words, Janetta Brantley?
I think at my core, I was in disbelief. I wasn't cleaning it or enhancing it to specifically look for or identify a crime or even point the fingers at anybody. I believe I wanted it to be an accident. I think a lot of us wanted it to be an accident. So when I heard those things, when I heard, "Damn it, Bart," that name stood out to me because I hadn't even heard that name before. As I was listening to certain things that stood out to me, I was in disbelief because, again, I'm just an audio engineer. I'm not an investigator, a detective, or anything like that. So when I heard a name that I wasn't familiar with, it stood out to me, and that alone made me want to hear what was immediately said after "Damn it, Bart." And so that's why in that process where "Damn it, Bart" came in loud and clear to me, I decided to go over to the next part to hear what the rest of that statement was, which is where you saw me actually create a loop over that part, split that part, and then add a gain, which the gain is boosting the volume overall. And that's pretty much what you saw me do in that actual video. And so to hear, damn it, Bart, Nolan's really dead now, that I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Okay, so before I play this, I want to quickly explain what I did, what you're looking at on the screen, and why I chose to approach this audio the way that I did. As a professional audio engineer with experience in dialogue editing, dialogue cleanup, sound design, and post-production, I decided to work on that CTO call using traditional audio processing techniques rather than relying on any AI voice separation or AI enhancement. My goal was pretty much to preserve as much of the original recording as possible while making the quieter dialogue and background audio easier to hear. So I basically used techniques such as subtractive EQ, compression, gain adjustments, noise reduction, frequency isolation, and other traditional processing methods. So what I did was I separated Vicky, the CTO dispatcher, from Warren and the audio originating from the boat so that I can concentrate more closely on what was happening behind and around Warren, pretty much on the boat. And I specifically chose not to rely on AI because aggressive AI enhancements and voice isolation tools can sometimes introduce artifacts and distort the speech or create ambiguity around the sounds that were originally present. And for something this serious, I wanted my processing to remain as conservative as possible. You'll also notice time code and dialogue written on the side of the screen and pop up during each segment. That dialogue represents what I personally hear as an audio engineer while processing and repeatedly reviewing these sections. I'm pretty much providing it as a listening reference, not as a declaration that my interpretation is the only possible interpretation. And that's important. I want you to listen for yourself, use headphones if you have them, listen closely, and decide with your own ears what you believe is being said. You can also return to the original unprocessed recording and compare directly with what you're hearing here. You'll also notice that my time code may not match the regular timestamp on the original uploaded video. And that's because I'm working inside a professional post-production timeline, a digital audio workstation, basically using SMPTE time code, which in film that's displayed in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. Film and TV timelines are completely different from timestamps that you see when you're watching regular videos or when you're watching a movie and you hit pause. So basically the time code on the screen is there to identify the precise location within my working session, not to represent the elapsed timestamp displayed by the original video player. And I hope that makes sense. For this first video, I'm sharing only approximately 37 seconds of the call. I originally intended to continue much further, but once I separated the dispatcher from the boat and started concentrating exclusively on the background dialogue, what I believed I was hearing became extremely difficult for me to process emotionally, and I needed to take a mental break. But I wanted to release this portion because some of the details that stood out most to me occur very early in the call, like right at the top of the call. And so I'm gonna let the audio play. Read my transcription if you want to reference, but don't allow it to determine what you hear. I want you to listen first, listen again, compare it with the original recording, and then judge it with your own ears. I hope this breakdown helps. And my
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Hey, up! Shut the fuck up!
Three separate people, three separate approaches, all working from the same original public source file. That consistency is actually the strongest argument in favor of the audio being real, rather than fabricated. It's genuinely difficult to fake the same result 3 independent times using 3 different methods, especially when none of these people knew each other or coordinated in advance. But here's where I want to slow down, because this is exactly where a lot of online commentary gets sloppy, and I don't want to make that same mistake in front of you. Being real and being clearly understood are 2 completely different things. Even the people who worked on this audio, under oath-level scrutiny from legal analysts, have acknowledged there's a real difference between confirming a recording hasn't been artificially faked and confirming exactly which words are being said inside a chaotic, low-quality, overlapping recording. One attorney who reviewed this raised a fair point live on air. If this were being prepared for an actual courtroom, you'd want expert testimony specifically ruling out AI generation or digital manipulation, not just testimony from the person who enhanced it. That's not an attack on the engineer's credibility. It's just what a rigorous legal standard actually requires before treating disputed audio as confirmed fact. So here's where this technically sits tonight. The audio itself, verified as coming from the same source MDMR released. The enhancement process, verified, standard, explainable, not exotic. The specific words people believe they're hearing, still genuinely disputed, with real, competing interpretations from people who were actually present that day. Let's talk about those competing interpretations honestly, because both sides deserve to be heard clearly, not just characterized. One interpretation says the panic in this recording is about a person, the other says it's about the boat itself, the bilge pump failing, the battery going out, water rising around their feet. If you've never been on a small boat that's actively taking on water, it's worth knowing that moment is genuinely terrifying on its own. Loud, chaotic, and full of urgent, overlapping shouting that has nothing to do with anyone being hurt. Neither interpretation has been officially confirmed by anyone with the authority to confirm it. That's not us dodging the question, that's the honest, current state of the evidence. Now let's shift to something that's actually far less disputed, and honestly far more serious than the audio itself. This case has produced real, documented, criminally chargeable threats against real people. One threat, sent to a family member of one of the friends involved, described violence in graphic detail and referenced a package designed to look like an explosive device. The person behind that threat has since been arrested and charged federally with transmitting threatening communications across state lines. A second person, this one targeting Mississippi law enforcement directly with repeated bomb threats, has also been arrested and charged. And here's something worth sitting with for a moment, because it's easy to lose sight of in a case with this much noise around it. Nolan's own parents have received death threats too. Multiple people connected to this story, on every side of it, have been targeted. That's not a footnote. That's the actual human cost of a case this size getting this much attention, and it's a cost that lands on real people regardless of what actually happened to Nolan. Let's move to the science, because there's a real update here too. The state's own autopsy, the first one, is reportedly complete, but it's being kept confidential, not released to the public. Some people are treating that as suspicious on its own. It's worth understanding it isn't automatically unusual. Autopsy reports get withheld from public release fairly routinely when a case is headed toward a grand jury, specifically to avoid influencing that process before it happens. We've seen this exact pattern before, in other high-profile cases working through the system right now. It doesn't confirm anything sinister on its own. It also doesn't rule anything out. What we do know from the independent second autopsy, the one performed by a highly credentialed former chief medical examiner, is that a full layered dissection was conducted, going beneath the surface of the skin, and it identified discoloration specifically at the back of the head. Not anywhere else on the body. He has been clear, publicly, that decomposition has compromised this area enough that he cannot draw a firm conclusion from it. One detail worth including here, because it's a fair, non-speculative observation, if this discoloration were simply blood settling naturally after death, a process called lividity, you'd typically expect to see it distributed more broadly across the lowest points of the body, not isolated to one specific area. That's not proof of anything. It's a legitimate scientific question that the current evidence hasn't fully answered either way. There's also a real unresolved forensic complication here. Certain neck structures and full lung tissue weren't available for this second examination. Without those, ruling out certain causes of death, or confirming others, becomes significantly harder. That's not an accusation against anyone. It's simply an honest description of the limits of what this second exam could actually determine, regardless of what it found. Now let's talk about the toxicology question, because a lot of noise online has centered on this, and I want to walk through it fairly, from both directions. Full toxicology results are still pending. Some people are asking whether alcohol played a role. Here's the honest answer to that, from every angle. If Nolan had been drinking, that alone doesn't answer whether what happened to him was an accident or something else. It cuts both ways, genuinely. It could support an accidental drowning. It could also mean he was less able to defend himself if something else happened. Neither explanation is proven by the mere fact that toxicology results are still pending. There's also a fair question being raised publicly by people close to this case. If this were a simple accidental drowning, in an area with hundreds of people present that day, why did nobody report seeing it happen? That's a legitimate, non-speculative question. It doesn't answer itself, but it's worth including honestly, because it's part of what's actually driving continued scrutiny of this case. Let's also address the polygraph question directly, because there's real confusion circulating about this, and it deserves a clear, accurate explanation. Reports have circulated that several friends passed a polygraph. According to polygraph experts who've reviewed how this is actually being described, that's not accurate. What's actually being described is a voice stress analysis, a fundamentally different and considerably weaker methodology. A real polygraph measures multiple simultaneous physiological signals, heart rate, blood pressure, breathing depth, and skin conductivity, all captured through direct physical sensors, using carefully constructed questions designed specifically to avoid ambiguity. A voice stress test analyzes vocal patterns alone, and according to the experts who've reviewed it, the underlying research supporting its reliability is considerably weaker. It is not equivalent. And notably, it wasn't conducted using investigator-approved questions in the way that would give it real evidentiary weight, even as a purely investigative tool. That distinction matters, because they passed a lie detector test and they passed a voice stress test with self-selected questions are simply not the same claim, even though they get repeated online as if they are. So here's where all of this actually leaves us tonight. Audio that's real, but disputed. A state autopsy that's complete, but sealed pending a grand jury. An independent autopsy with a real, specific, but ultimately unresolved finding. A toxicology report still pending. 2 federal arrests over serious, credible threats against people connected to this case. And a polygraph claim that turns out to be something considerably less conclusive once you look closely at what it actually was. We are not going to tell you tonight that we know what happened to Nolan Wells. Nobody currently does. What we can tell you is that every piece of this case, examined honestly and carefully, raises real legitimate questions, and none of those questions have been fully answered yet. If this case matters to you, make sure you're subscribed, because the next real update could come the moment the grand jury process moves forward. And down in the comments tonight, we want to know, after actually hearing all 3 versions of that audio yourself, where do you land? We'll be back the moment there's more real information to bring you.